Good evening, salutations, welcome to Old Man Gamer, and tonight I am not playing Marvel Snap, but we are going to talk about Marvel Snap. So, forgive me there, I'm trying something new tonight. I want to make some content that's not just me gaming, because, you know, I come from a broadcast background. So, I also want to make some content occasionally, just talking about this game, because I'm loving this game. I am just absolutely enjoying this game, and I'm a fan, and when I'm a fan of something, I like to support it. So that's what I'm doing, and hopefully you guys get in on this as well. There's a lot of great content out there, and there's a lot of great content creators out there. Some of them, though, are pretty advanced, and I'm kind of newer, so that's kind of what I think I kind of bring to the table. So tonight, though, I want to talk about my thoughts on the game overall. I've been playing this now a month, and I literally just... I really kind of want to talk about my initial thoughts and things of that nature. So let's kind of break it down. Let's get into it a little bit. So first of all, again, special thanks to Geek to Geek Media. This show is affiliated with them. I'm a member of the Geek to Geek Media Network. Check it out, geek2geekmedia.com, I think. Holy cow, I should know my people. You know, I really should. Wow, that is 100%. This will be in a blooper reel later. Let me see here. Let me pull that out because and I'll take this again. Part of this is it's going to be a recording that I'm actually going to make into a YouTube video with videos behind it. I've started actually recording some of my other stuff. Yes, geek2geekmedia.com. I started recording some games and stuff that I'll put in as a side. But I also wanted to record this and just have it come out as just content over Twitch and everything else. So I hope you guys dig that. So let's take that again, whole from. All right. So I'm here to kind of talk a little bit tonight about Marvel Snap. But before we get started, I want to remind you guys that I'm a member of the Geek to Geek Media Network. You can find out more at geek2geekmedia.com. They have a lot of great inclusive content, a lot of uplifting things. We tend to be very positive there. It's real easy to go low, but we like to go high. Definitely recommend you check it out, geek2geekmedia.com. So let's get into my initial thoughts on Snap, because I started playing Snap about a month ago, almost to the day, actually. I started playing between Christmas and New Year's. I had a few days off, and I had decided to move away from Magic the Gathering and making content for that, so I thought I would kind of do this instead. And I'm having a pretty grand time with it, I got to be honest with you. It's right in my wheelhouse. It's a collectible card game. It's 100%, strong. It's very well crafted. It's very well put together. It has a meta game. Nothing against Hearthstone, guys, but for me, Hearthstone's not where it's at. I definitely like the thought that has to go into this and everything else. So I love, and again, the extra bonus for me is the snap mechanic. Being somebody who loves to play poker, I love snapping. And again, I'm not good at it yet. I've still got to learn, but I started out in poker at a place too. I just love it. I thought that was a really great addition to it. And I love the fast pace. I love that we can jam in a bunch of games in a day. If you're sitting waiting for a bus, if you're sitting, around waiting at the doctor's office or in a waiting room, waiting out in your car, whatever, you can jam a game in. And notice I didn't go for the one where, most people think a man will go to. That's beside the point. And most people know you can also do it during other times. But the fact is, I love the fast pace. I think that this game has a lot going for it in that regards. It definitely brings out something new and exciting. So I love the fast pace. I was glad I got into it. I downloaded it and started playing right away. It was very quick and very easy for me to get into. I learned very quickly how the game goes. So what I wanted to do tonight while talking about this, I wanted to talk about things that I have learned. Because I am a newer player. I'm not somebody who's been playing this for a while. I am somebody who's starting out. So I really find that it's very important to share that knowledge. As a content creator, as somebody who's doing this for fun as well as just to have a good time, it's important that we make sure that, the ideas we're out there and sharing are good, because I mean, this game is free to play, but the paywall is significant. I'm not going to lie on that. If you don't pay to play this game a little bit, you can be a bit behind. I know, because I've got a free to play account I've been playing with a little bit, and to tell you the truth, it's just not there. It's slower grind, especially as you get towards mid to late levels. But I want to talk a little bit about the things that I've learned into this game. So if you've never played the game before, this might be things for you to watch out for. This might be things for you to remember. Feel free to like, subscribe this video, come back to it later. But let's kind of talk a little bit. So the first thing that I really, really learned was leveling up. If you've played any sort of video game, and I mean any video game, first-person shooter, Magic the Gathering Arena, Hearthstone, any of those, they all have a leveling mechanic. And so leveling it's important. So when we talk about leveling at first, I am talking about your overall player level. That is important, but not as important as the collection level. This game has some very unique features. The collection level is the level at which your cards are at. So what does that mean? That means cards, cards have been separated by the developer into pools of cards. So you have a pool 1, which is the first cards you tend to get. Pool 2 starts almost immediately. And then pool 3 is, where you're going to spend a bulk of your time. It's where a lot of the cards sit. So, and that's important because it does impact how well you're going to do in this game, how well you are going to be able to play this game, and probably a little bit of your enjoyment to it. So the collection level is very, very, very important. Your collection level is going to run, from, I do believe, from 0 to, well, I think we just came to pool 2 on last week's show. So it's like 25 or 30. After that, you're in pool 2 for, I want to say until like level 250. Let me, look that up here. But pool 2 is kind of great in that it gives you a chance to to learn about, how to play the game, how to learn. Okay, so pool 1 is actually 18 to 214. I apologize for that. Collection level. Pool 2 is 222 to 474. And then pool 3 is from 486 on. Once you get to 474 collection level, you have collected all of pool 1 and pool 2 cards. The randomization comes in as what cards they give you when, but you will get all of pool 1 cards and all of pool 2 cards without fail. However, pool 3 is where things go incredibly insane. Pool 3 starts bringing in things that it starts bringing in a whole lot more randomness to it. It brings in the collector. I forget what they're named, but basically there's okay, forgive me. I'm gonna take that again. So at pool 3, after 474 and basically collection level 500, you start opening collector caches. Now, these caches you'll open them every 12 levels or so. And it can give you a card, and it should give you a card relatively regularly. However, it's also going to give you a variant card, or it's even going to give you some in-game currency, whether it be gold, whether it be more collection credits. It's a kind of a way for them to kind of slow you down, slow your roll a little bit. As far as getting into pool 3, but because pool 3 has, I believe, 11, so it's like 77, 78 cards in it. And even me, who's sitting at, I think, level 2500 collection level, I'm still missing about 20 of those cards. So you'll open a pool 3 card usually, or you do have a chance to open a pool 4 card, which there's about 10 of right now. And then there's pool 5 cards, which there's about 12 of, and even pool 6, which I think there's about 3 or 4. So it's an interesting thing. I mean, I've opened 4 Pool 4 cards already, and even 2 Pool 5s. Now, one of them is Silver Surfer, which I bought as part of the collection. They have a way to buy things, and I'll show you guys about that. But really, when you talk about leveling up, people are talking about collection level usually. Now, there is another level. There's the player level, which is that's a whole other thing we should talk about here. But you know, the collection level is very important. But you can also level up the ladder as a player. You have 0 to 100. I don't think you can go below 30. Once you get to Iron, you're pretty much locked in there. But then you're trying to get to Infinite, because at Infinite, you can't go any lower than 100. So between 30 and 100, you fluctuate between. You're trying to get to Infinite, because when you get to Infinite, things do kind of change a little bit. You get a lot. It's a good badge of honor. And it's incredibly hard to do. I am now sitting at level 71 again. I was up to level 79. But again, you can slide pretty quick, pretty easily. I had built myself back up to 77 as early as this morning. And then while I was recording some of the videos for today, I found myself skidding a lot. We'll talk a little bit about that. But some of the things I learned besides collection level is I want to talk about knowing when to snap. Now, I can't speak with great knowledge of this because I am still learning this mechanic. I swing a ton right now. I've been, like I said, as high as 79, sitting now 71, 72. Snapping is a big part of that. I've had times where I've realized I should have snapped earlier. Or I get to the end of the game going, man, I had this one on turn 3. Why the hell didn't I snap? Sometimes I get so lost in like the nuances of the cards and what order I'm playing things that I forget to hit that snap button. There are many, many, many thoughts of how to snap. Okay, there are many videos on YouTube about how to snap. I really believe, though, this is something that has to work for you. I haven't found the one that works for me yet. There's 2 or 3 camps. Like there's the camp that says you should snap early. If it looks like you have the hand you want, which is true, you know, you snap early if you feel like you've got a turn 2 or turn 3. Sure, why not? But what about those meh hands? What about those hands you're like, man, I like if you're playing a Devil Dinosaur deck, you really got to draw that Devil Dinosaur almost to make it worth it. You have a few turn 6 plays and a few I got She-Hulk in there, but I'm usually trying to cheat She-Hulk out turn 4 to make her a target for Shang-Chi. The fact is, you don't know when to snap early when you have a Mei hand. And then there's others that say you should snap when you know you have it, though many also say when you do that, you end up leaving cues on the table because most people say a turn 5 snap is going to make them retreat if they know they don't have the win. And to that I say, well, then at least I got a cube. Because here's what happens. If you snap on turn 5 and you haven't snapped yet, right now you've only risked 1 cube. You're only going to win 1 cube. However, you hit the snap. If they retreat, you still only won 1 cube as opposed to 4, or if they snap, 8. Here's the thing. I'm okay grinding out 1 cube. I'm still, like I said, I'm still trying to figure out my style, but I kind of have a feeling, like when I'm trying to level up, which I do quite a bit, because I really want to get to the point above infinity where I can start playing Bonzo crazy decks, because you can't level playing Bonzo crazy decks. You just can't. If you're going to play a lot of those cards that are like Lockjaw or things of that nature, I want to be infinite so I can enjoy those decks and really have fun playing those kind of, wonky, memey decks, as opposed to just grinding it out, playing Devil Dinosaur or Super Patriot or, blah. Or Patriot, not Super Patriot. Super Patriot is Eric Larson's from Savage Dragon. Big fan. Like Grounders, though, I just want to win cubes. I'll win a cube. I'll be happy winning a cube. If I snap on turn 5 and they run, okay. Go ahead. I won a cube because I am trying to level, and even a 1 is better than losing 4. So you got to find your style. You have to find what works for you because also, again, if you tend to snap early, other people are going to snap early too, especially if they think they might have it. Now, all of a sudden, you went from risking 1 cube to risking 4, and if you're doing that on a May hand, then you may not be able to pull it out. It's your style. Find your style. See what works for you. Next thing I want to talk about is initiative. initiative, and I have it here. Initiative is everything. And it is very, very important to know about initiative. What is initiative? You've heard it mentioned in other videos. Maybe they don't tell you and you don't want to ask the question. Initiative is when you're playing Snap and one of you, either you or your opponent, have a flashing aura around you. What does that mean? That means on this turn, well, actually, it kind of can change, but it should mean on this turn, whoever is winning, they're going to reveal first. So that is very, very, very important. So even if they're not shimmering yet, because I've seen this kind of bug where I looked up and saw I was shimmering, and I'm like, okay, I guess I have initiative. Great. And I make a play or two, and then as they start to reveal, the initiative will switch. Here's how to know whether you have initiative really and to always be right. First of all, make sure that you're winning. Whoever is winning is going to reveal first. So if you have 2 locations that you're ahead on, or you have more points overall, then you're going to reveal before anybody else. Likewise, if you're tied, that's when you got to look up at the shiny thing because it is almost a random thing. So it's very important to know when you're going first because if you're playing a card like Shang-Chi or other cards that interact with their board, like, again, Shang-Chi, and you think they're going to drop Devil Dinosaur, well, if you have initiative, you're not going to want to play Shang-Chi on thinking they're going to drop Devil Dinosaur because you're going to reveal Shang-Chi first. Their Devil Dinosaur is still going to be closed. So you would reveal Shang-Chi, and I've done this more than once. You reveal Shang-Chi thinking I'm going to go get their dinosaur because I know I'm playing a dino deck. And I reveal Shang-Chi, and I had initiative. Son of a crap ticket. And they revealed Devil Dinosaur. I was totally right, and I lost. So, again, it's very important to know that. Likewise, you need to know when you're going second. If you're playing against a Wong deck and they have initiative, then Rogue or Cosmo does you absolutely no good. They are going to get to fire that off. Doesn't mean you shouldn't play it. Because you got to hope, if it's early enough, if they dropped Wong on, say, 3 or 4, if they had a Psylocke back, you know what? You still drop Rogue or Cosmo to shut that off because they only probably played 1 or 2 cards. If they shut that lane down, there's nothing you can do. And that's going to take me to my next thing, too, is like, don't be afraid to lose locations. So I especially see this with Wand decks. Realize that the key to this game is getting either the most points if you each win 1 or to win 2 locations. That's it. It's that simple. So if you see people loading, I've seen it where I forget what Sokovia or something, which will bring a card out of your deck. So somebody on turn 2 or 3 manages to get Wong in a lane for free. Okay, that's a problem. I have to deal with that. And I may not have anything to deal with that until the following turn. Maybe I didn't draw Cosmo. Maybe I didn't draw Rogue. What have you. Or you see them pull, like, Bucky out or whatever, and I don't have my armor yet. Fine. Understand this. You need to realize, if you see people starting to bump up a location 20, 30 points on turn 2, 3, or 4, let them have it. Let them go nuts. Especially if you're playing against somebody who doesn't really understand the nuances of the game. I've seen people load up an entire row. Or there's a lot of that location that gives you +5 energy these days. And, okay, so they load up on that and they get a ton of energy. Sure. Great. Or not +5 power, not energy. Great, you have loaded this up. I am never going to come back from this. So I'm going to go work elsewhere and try to catch you napping. Do not be afraid to lose a location because, understand, once you won, if you can win 2 locations, even if they play a Kazar or Blue Marvel turn 4 and 5, if you've moved on to another location, that hit is going to be significantly less. Because both Blue Marvel and Kazar to a lesser extent, but Blue Marvel, they're kind of weakish as far as power goes. Yes, they're going to buff up that lane. They're going to buff up the players they want. But you know what? I'm trying to win. I'm going to go for these other lanes. And I do it all the time. It's one of the reasons I run Luke Cage in a lot of decks because I'm seeing a lot, and we'll talk about this later as well, I'm seeing a lot of negative locations, like, oh, you lose 3 power, oh, you lose 1 power, oh, you lose 2 power, blah, 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 blah. I see those locations. I've been running Luke Cage and I don't play it till turn 6, by the way, because, again, it's important that, I am trying to play the long game of I want to win 2 locations. So again, somebody loads up, let them load up. As long as it's not something like a Silver Surfer or anything like that, you should be okay. That doesn't mean don't try to shut it down. If you see a Wong out there, if you have Cosmo in your deck and you've drawn him, yeah, you put Wong on Cosmo or Cosmo on Wong. If you see Rogue, even if they have 2 other ongoings at that location, man, you got a 1 in 3 shot to shut Wong off. Shut Wong off. You have to be, it's important to still play at that location, but your goal should then be to build up at the other 2, because 9 times out of 10, if somebody can I use Wong as an example, but if somebody can drop a Wong and really go to town, they're going to play in it because they really want to see their stuff go off 2 or 3 or 4 times. And I get it. When I play Wong, so do I. So, but I'm in this to win the game, so I highly recommend you try that. Next thing I want to talk about is retreating. So you have to know when to retreat. All right, the Kenny Rogers song had it best. You have to know when to hold them, know when to fold them. And you know what? Sometimes, folks, you gotta fold. You gotta run. Look, you gotta learn not to let your ego get the best of you. Things like bad locations, like Weird World drives me insane. I don't want to play your deck. I want to play my deck. And Weird World is just horrible. World Ship showed up today, which I'm starting to wonder if that's a newer one and if that's going to show up. World Ship is basically Galactus on a location. Well, that sucks. Things like that. See things like that, Weird World, or, draw 3 cards and blow up your deck. I say to myself that isn't going to be fun. As long as nobody's snapped, as long as I'm not losing more than 1 cube, I'll run. It's not worth it to me. It really isn't. I'm still in this. I'm grinding up to try to get infinite, which I'm not going to do before tomorrow. But I'm also grinding to have a good time. I want to enjoy this. The point of this game is to enjoy it. And if I don't enjoy playing Weird World, then if a Weird World comes up, maybe I'm just going to retreat. Or if I find I just can't win. Okay, if I'm playing, here's the thing, and I'm running the untapped.gg thing, so it kind of shows me some information about how many cards are in their deck, how many cards are left in mine, etc., etc. If I see a deck show up with 13 cards in it, it's a Thanos deck, I retreat automatic. I'm not even going to play it. I know that Thanos isn't an auto win, but it's damn near close. And it does make things just ridiculously unfun. And I just don't like it. And I really have some feelings, and I'll talk about that later, about the fact that I shouldn't be playing Thanos decks yet, because I only am at 2,500 card level. And collection level, Thanos is a level 6. Like, you're not going to get that until you finish level 3, unless you get very, very, very lucky. Unless you can finish pool 3. Once you finish pool 3, yes, those cards can start showing up. But otherwise, you're just overpowered. And if I know that, I'm not even going to risk it. And I guess I'm trying to tell the guys who got Thanos, maybe, you know what? Maybe don't play that card right now. But we'll talk about matchmaking, because I don't think it's their fault either. I think there's something going on. So, but in any event, when you don't got it, just retreat. You don't have to play it out to the end. You don't have to let it go to 2 or 4. My God, if you know you're going to lose and they snap, run. Run now. Even if you've just snapped. Like, sometimes I'll snap on turn 5, like I said, to kind of push somebody away. If they snap back into me, then I'm like, okay, fold. And again, that's the same as, 3-bet on the river, and somebody comes over top of me, goes all in. Okay, well, I tried to steal the pot. You got it. Fine. Same idea here. If you don't have it, just guard your chips, man. Guard your cubes. That's the name of the game. The other thing that I really wanted to learn is, and this is something I haven't seen anybody else say, it's when to shut down the program. Here's the thing. There have been many a day over the past week or two where I've had days where, and the last stream I did, you could see it. I was getting frustrated because, like, it just seemed like every deck I played against was designed to beat my deck. Every location was designed to beat my deck. And I wasn't drawing the cards I needed. It just seemed like everything was stacked against me. Now this is an RNG. I'm not going to put a tinfoil hat on and say, second dinner is trying to keep me from leveling up. I'm not going there. Okay. There are some people out there who feel that way. I'm not one of them. Okay. But I am also aware of my own humanity. And so, I've had days where I'm leveling up and I'm doing great and I just can't lose, man. Every card's going my way. And then all of a sudden, I get every bad location. I get every bad deck that can beat mine possible. I look like I'm going to win and they drop Galactus turn 5. And I'm like, just every sort of thing goes against me and I start skidding. And if I start skidding, and I have a rule now, if I've dropped 2 levels. So if I was at 75 and I'm now at 73 and it dropped without me winning, like just a precipitous drop, I close the game. I close it out. Because either something is going on as far as matchmaking and the algorithm, and there's just not enough people that can play with me, which is probably far more likely, by the way, is that they're pairing me off with people that are above me, because there's not enough pool 3 or people with my collection level or at my level playing right now. Or far more likely is that I'm just having a bad time all of a sudden and I'm making mistakes or I'm not doing things right. You know what? Walk away. Just walk away. It's not worth playing. You know what? I've had nights where I've closed it for an hour, come back, and all of a sudden, again, I'm firing on all cylinders and things like that. And again, I do believe that's a part of the matchmaking algorithm. And we're going to talk about that coming up here when I talk about ideas, because I do want to talk about matchmaking. But in any event, I cannot stress enough, know when to close this game down. Know when to shut it down. Know when to walk away. Go play something else. Go watch TV. Go hug your loved ones. Go, see if your significant other needs a soda, anything like that. Step away from the game. Don't be, because there's nothing worse, because, and we'll talk about an idea I have for levels as well. You can go from 78 to 58 in this game, and I don't like that. So again, don't be afraid to take a step away, to walk away. So before I get into things I need to learn more about, let me play this little thing for you.
When toxic culture has you down.
When you're just looking to laugh and have fun.
Kick back and enjoy watching a video game.
Or just make some new friends.
It's time to visit the Geek to Geek Media Network.
A community of podcasters, streamers, and bloggers.
Well, more of a family than a community.
All dedicated to geeking out about the things we love. Things like
video games,
Star Wars,
comics,
movies,
K-pop,
Disney Plus,
Keanu Reeves,
new,
or whatever our community decides is the next best thing.
That's right. We have a great online community on Slack and Discord where we chat about our weekly geekery with listeners and viewers.
And each other.
Yep, and each other in real time, and we can't wait for you to join us.
So come check us out at geektogeekmedia.com.
and escape toxic fandom for something much more...
Keanu.
Yes, Keanu.
All right, that's geektogeekmedia.com. Let's pivot off of this, and let's talk a little bit more about things I still need to learn. So, this is a very interesting idea, in that I've realized as I've played this over the last month that there's a lot I've learned, but there's a lot I still need to do to better my game. To make me a better player. So again, this is going to seem like a bit of a broken record, but the first thing I want to talk about is, knowing when to snap. Like, again, we talked about it earlier. This is something I have to work on. As a content creator, you know what? Everybody says the same thing about me, from when I was doing Planestalkers to DR Casual, now to this. I'm honest, okay? I'm not going to sit here and represent as some sort of know-it-all guru or what have you. I am learning this along with you. I just enjoy talking about it, in a room with nobody here. So, but the point I'm making is that I need to learn to know when to snap. I need to get better at this. I need to remember that it's a mechanic of the game sometimes. Like I said, I can get very, very lost in the trees as far as playing the game, getting my cards out, really excited to see this play fire off, and oh boy, I probably should snap. So I can't recommend that enough. I need to learn how to snap more. So if anybody has ideas, let me know in the comments below. Send me in the chat. Just, things of that nature. I need to learn more about when to snap. I am watching videos, but again, it's a very nuanced thing. And I think people are going to find, because again, this game is only 2.5 months old. Don't forget. So, or maybe 3 months now, but I mean, the cement is still very, very wet. I think snapping is one of those things that's going to be nuanced. It's going to be personal. It's got to be what works for you. And I'm still trying to find out what works for me. The next thing that we need to talk about is deck building. Now, there are resources out there. There are many resources out there. Now, there aren't again, with the cement being wet, with us being such a new game, there's not as much of a, like with Magic the Gathering, MTG Goldfish is a great site to go to get the meta, or this site or that site. There's like 2 or 3 sites out there that you can get the deck and the meta and the net deck a little bit. There's a lot of net decks available out there. There's a couple of sites, snap.fans, like there's a bunch of them. Even untapped.gg has it. That's fantastic. There's many content creators that go over how to build decks and what to do. And it's a little rough, and I feel bad for them. Like, I'm talking about Cozy and Anthony and some of this, because they've been playing this game since beta or since, it first came out. So they'll sit there and be like, you should build your deck with Magneto. Well, Magneto's a pool 3 card. That's true. But I don't have Magneto yet. I just don't. At one point, they were talking about the Patriot deck. You got to run with Mysterio, and I'm like, I don't have Mysterio. Mysterio came up in tokens, and I grabbed it, but I don't play it as much anymore either. It's an interesting concept too, because net decking and the meta and all of that. It's no good if you're not able to play the deck. If you don't have the head, like Sarah Surfer Control. All right, if you're not a person who has played a lot of collectible card games or understands the nature of Control, the last thing you should do is go after that deck because somebody said it's the best deck out there. It is one of the best decks out there. I am running a shell of it because I'm missing a few pieces. But, or a Lockjaw deck. I don't get Lockjaw. I've tried playing it. But again, when we'll talk about this in ideas, I haven't played it that much because I've been trying to level up. So I can't learn to play Lockjaw because I'm trying to level up. And when I play Lockjaw, I lose when I play Lockjaw. So I'm not going to play Lockjaw. So understand that there's a lot out there. So deck building is one of those things that I think has to be a personal thing. Sometimes you think the cards you need is going to make your deck, and then you start playing it, and then you're like, wait, no, this doesn't work for me. Again, because like Mysterio, I pulled Mysterio out of Patriot, and I slotted in Luke Cage. Again, because I was facing a lot of negative zone and this place and the sewer system. So you're -1, -3. And I found that was a better way for me to get 2 or 3 points than Mysterio. Because, I mean, and Cozy's huge on Mysterio. He's like, they don't know where he is for real, man. They don't know what they're going to do. Most people don't care. They're counting points, but if you're playing a Patriot deck, they've got 2 points anyway. I don't care where you're getting 2 extra points. I need to shut this down. So, that being said, find the cards that work for you, and find the deck style that works for you. Like, I tend to be, when I was playing Magic, I tended to actually be much more of an aggro type player. I love to play mono red. I like to play, cards that I would build creatures, turn them sideways, bang you in the face. Well, I'm finding in Marvel Snap that I like to play a little bit more of combo. I love my Devil Dinosaur deck. I play it very well, and as I started to slide, I switched to Devil Dinosaur and I start climbing the ladder again. And it has to do with that. So you have to find the deck that works for you, but you also need to realize that the resources out there are not gospel. And understand this as well. As a content creator, I'm going to be honest with you. All right, now I'm streaming this live, so I've had mistakes and gaffes. But when I go to make a video out of this, I will edit things and bring things in and cut things out and cut out my little gaff in the beginning, etc., etc. Very few people actually live stream. They tend to build a video, put it together, and then cut it together, cut out things that don't work so they can cut out losses. They can make it look like their deck is fantastic. And you know what? It may work for them. It's their style. Find your style. I need to learn that. I need to get better at deck building. I also want to talk about locations because we'll talk about my feelings on some of them in a minute, but you need to know about locations. The best part of this game, I think, is the locations. It has this almost, the way they used to describe it in the old school legacy novels of Star Wars, of Sabacc. Okay, this idea that the locations can make or break your deck. You can't just build the best deck in the game and have all three realms be ruins and, you're just going to play it out. No, you're playing within the confines of the locations. Now, there are problems, and we'll get into that. But make sure, I need to build better around locations. I need to pay more attention to when that thing comes up at the beginning that says, hey, this location is featured this week. I did do that last week with Collapse Mine. I started to realize that I had to build a deck that could deal with that. Once I did, I had a little better luck. Then finally, the other thing I really, really, really need to work on is when to upgrade cards. There is a strategy to this that I have not embraced yet. Mainly because, again, I've been focused so much on leveling up both, my personal level as well as my card level. But I've just been like getting cards, taking the biggest bang for the buck. And I think I'm doing it wrong. I'm not upgrading some cards that are sitting in silver because, well, it's only 25 or, whatever. I'm not getting a ton of, movement. But the other side of that is I'm not able to prepare myself for tomorrow. I find myself leveling up infinite cards a lot more. And I think there's something to that. People say there's something to that. But I feel like, too, I want to get cards that I play to infinite. That's another thing I do. And that's just what I do. If I'm playing a card a lot, I'd love to have it go infinite so that it has the really cool backgrounds and stuff. Like, Armor is one I've always upgraded, and Patriot. Just if I play the card a lot, I will upgrade it. I just don't know. There is a system there. It is something I need to learn. So if anybody has ideas or videos to point me to, please put them down in the comments below. But that's kind of where we are on that. Let's talk and pivot a little bit to overall thoughts and ideas. So, again, I want to talk a little bit about ideas I've had, things that I've learned. And the first thing we'll talk about again, and we come back to it again, is leveling. Leveling sucks. I'm not going to lie. I'm not going to sugarcoat it. Leveling absolutely sucks. It is an epic grind, one that I've not seen in a long time, with not a lot of save zones. So, and what I mean by that is, as you level up, as you go through the progression, and I'm not talking just collection level here, although that has its own problems. I'm talking about your personal player level. As you level up, you go between metals, from iron to gold to diamond to platinum to diamond to to adamantium to infinite. The goal is to get to infinite, level 100. So you have to win 1,000 matches is basically how that works. You get a level get 1,000 cubes, I should say. Here's the thing, is that my problem with leveling is I feel that at least every other metal, if not every metal, that should be your basement. That should be you've reached this. You cannot go below this. Once you reach level 60, you are at least level 60 for the season. But what they do is, I could reach level 60 and then go back down to 54 and have to grind my way back to 60. And here's the thing, at the end of the month, so tomorrow, which I think is one of the reasons I skidded tonight, is that I think people are trying to play just to get higher up so that when the hit hits, it's not so bad. You're going to lose 30 places, so from wherever you're at. So I'm going to go, when I get done with this, I'm going to go play a little bit more and see how I do. Again, I shut it off once I lost like 8. And again, that part of that was building recordings for this, etc. But leveling sucks. I really feel that it needs to be a basement. And here's the thing. If you do that, if Second Dinner can do that, if they could shut that down, even if it's every 20, I understand not wanting to do 10, but every 20 levels, you can't go any lower. That will allow us to also play, to also try decks, to also have a place to learn how to play different decks so that the meta is not so constrictive. Because right now, what's really bad is you're going to see a lot of Devil Dinosaur, you're going to see a lot of Patriot Surfer, you're going to see a lot of, Sarah Control. You're going to see these decks because they win. And so you can't play some of the other stuff that can't compete with those decks. Like, I really would love to learn Lockjaw. I think Lockjaw just looks like a freaking bonzo, fun, meme-ish deck. But every time I lose, I'm losing points. So if you make it so that we can't go any lower, then at level 60, if that, say it's every 20, so 20, 40, 60, 80, 100. Say I hit level 60. You know what? I might sit at 60 for a while and play some different decks and see what happens. And then as I start to rank up or as I start to get better, I might continue to play that deck, or I'll switch to a deck that's going to let me win. But at least I had some time playing the cards in my collection. Now, I know the battle mode is going to help with this. I don't know how the battle mode is going to work yet. As I understand it might have released even as we've been talking. But, I mean, this seems like a really good way to kind of also keep, make the grind a little less grindy, if that helps. So that's my idea on that, is that you shouldn't be able to level below certain tiers. Matchmaking. Holy cats. Like I said, Alexander Kosha put a video up today. You should go find it. It's fantastic. It really obviously sucks. At the higher you get, the higher in grinding you get, matchmaking really starts to suck. It seems like as you get to a certain level in your climb, you're going to start facing much more powerful decks than you're capable of rolling with. Case in point, tonight, I saw 2 Thanos decks while I was trying to record. I had been on a monster skid all day. I'd gotten all the way up to like 77 again. And then I'm doing these recordings, and Thanos deck. Are you kidding me? World Ship. Oh, great. All of these different type of decks that are really going to overpower me. And Alexander, I should say, talked about it, and he talked about the fact that he knows he's ended up getting matched up with some other content creators out there. And he's like, he would contact them and he'd be like, hey, we just played. That was fantastic. But what's your collection level at? And one dude's like, I got 16,000, which means he has almost every damn card in the game. That's insane that he's sitting at 60 or 80 something. He said he was sitting at 65 or 70 at that point when he got matched up with this. How the hell do we compete with that? Likewise, I shouldn't be, if I'm leveling up, I shouldn't be having to play infinite players. And he knew a few people that he was playing against were already infinite. We should be playing. Why have a leveling system if you're not going to play your level? That's an interesting question. It's something Second Dinner needs to talk about. Because it is a problem. Honestly, they just need to make it so that matchmaking works. I'll wait. You know what? Or even a toggle. If I could have a toggle that says, matchmaking, I want to play against more cards in my general area, and I'm willing to wait 30 extra seconds, or I just want to jam games, let me play whatever. That would be fine, because that's what it is. As I understand it, and they created bots too. You end up playing some bots in this game, and I usually know when I'm playing a bot. And when you play them or a bot, they did that because they didn't want people waiting to get into games, and they're trying to launch. And I understand that, and I'm grateful for it. But I don't want to play infinite decks. I don't want to play Galactus decks. I don't have Galactus. I don't have any way to deal with that. I don't think it's fair that because I have, I've managed to pull Krull, and it's in my destroy deck, well, I have a pretty good advantage now. Things of that nature. They need to get a little bit more granular when it comes to that. So, my idea would be just make that better. Finally, let's talk card collecting, because this is tough. Card collecting is abysmally ineffectual. The fact is, I don't want it to be like Arena. I don't want it to be pay to win. Like when I say Arena, I mean Magic Arena. However, in going out of their way to make sure it's not pay to win, they've also made it very incredibly hard for people to build the decks they want to build. So you end up getting a lot of cards that you may never play, that you don't want to play. There's no dusting, and that's okay. I get that. But, if I'm never going to play a deck where I want to drop, let's say that I want to drop, Ronin. Okay, I think Ronin is a horrible card. I don't care how many cards. You know what? Ronin's great for against the Thanos deck, but for the most part, Ronin's going to do me no good. Or Crystal. I'm not a big fan of Crystal either. All right, so I should be able to dust these cards and either get a different card or get another collector's cache, something. The token system is woefully inadequate. You get tokens as you start going through collector caches and stuff, and the higher you go, the more often you'll get tokens. And then they have a token store where you can buy higher tier cards. However, the costing on those is woefully out of date. I thought very seriously Galactus came up, and I almost tacked him. And tacking in the token shop means it will not rotate every 24 hours or every 8 hours. It's not going to rotate. You can get this card as soon as you get the tokens. Well, Galactus is going to cost me 6,000 tokens, and I had 200. You only get tokens through collector caches, and you're only going to get those probably 1 out of every 15, which means 1 out of every 15 times 12. So it's going to take you a while to get those up. Now, I've been using my tokens to pick up level 3 cards that I need. I had Death Thumbtack today. I pulled deck out of a collector cache. I unthumbtacked it. I'm at 600. I won't thumbtack anything that's not a pool 3 card because I'm trying to complete pool 3. That's kind of a good way to go, but they need to figure out some way to get you more tokens. Whether that's let me buy them using the golden currency or whatever, or make them more rewards. I don't know. But they got to do something because the card acquisition in this, and they are aware of this, and that's just it. Second Dinner is one fantastic developer, and they're very involved in the community. They're aware of this. But what's going on right now is it's just borked. It really is. So let's go to my final thoughts here because this is going a little long. I'm going to obviously edit this down. I love this game. I cannot say enough about this game. I am going to continue streaming this game on Tuesdays. I'm going to continue making bonus content like this. I may start a podcast for this. I don't know yet. But, let me know what you guys think of this, if you liked it, if it was worthwhile. But I'm a big fan. If you have not played this game, then I cannot recommend enough that you get started. Just download it to your phone. Now, it's free to play. However, it is not free to win. And plan to get at least every month the battle pass, like it's the only word I can think of. But the seasonal stuff. Plan to do that every month because they've been putting some level 5 and 6 cards in those packs that really warp the game. Zabu warps the meta. He really does. And if you're not going to buy Zabu, then you're woefully, as you level up from level 1 and 2, sure, you're golden. But the minute you start getting into level 3 and you want to play more 4-cost cards, you need Zabu. So, case in point, give that a shot. I say download it if you haven't. Otherwise, thank you guys for watching. Special shout out to Cozy Snap. And to Kosha as well, and all the guys out there doing this. I hope you guys enjoyed this. This has been the Old Man Gamer. I will catch you guys on the flip, and I'll see you tomorrow. Bye-bye.